Welcome to the I-9 How-To videos. The topic for this video is processing Section 2 for non-domestic employees. These employees can also be referred to as international or non-resident aliens. The same basic steps apply to this process as the domestic process, so we'll skip what you should already be familiar with. The main differences are the amount of documentation needed, the additional time needed to process those documents, and the specific instructions you should provide. Review the domestic training material first so we can focus on the unique material now. Here's the scenario. An employee shows up to your location and indicates their I-9 needs to be processed. So you log into the I-9 management system and search for their I-9 case. You should ask for their documentation. Let's pause here for a moment. All international employees residing in the US on a visa will need to provide their passport, visa document, and I-94 document. In addition, a specific and official form accompanies most visa types and grants proof of eligibility for that visa type. For example, the Form I-20 is proof of eligibility for F1 visa status, the Form I-797 is proof of eligibility for H-1B visa status, and Form DS-2019 is proof of eligibility for J-1 visa status. In case you are curious, each visa status indicates a specific reason why a person has been approved to enter the country. For example, the F1 visa is for non-immigrant students pursuing an education in the US. For more information, see the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services webpage. Most international employees will bring a folder with all of their documents, but may not know the specific titles of each document. That's your job. However, some international employees are not sure what to give you, and you will need to help them figure it out. If they are unsure, you can ask the following. Are you a US citizen? This will help you determine eligible documents. If the answer is no, you can then ask what type of visa they have obtained, for instance, an F1, J1, H1B, etc. Since each visa type has slightly unique documents as mentioned, the employee's answer will allow you to communicate what is required. That means it is extremely important you memorize every visa type and the documentation required. That was a joke. In all seriousness, what you may actually need is a reference guide to quickly look that information up. You may download our quick reference sheet and put it to use after your training is complete. Okay, back to our scenario. The employee shows up to complete their I-9 and you request their documents. Let's say in this example, the new employee is a student worker. ASU hires many student workers every year, and international employees on a student F1 visa fill several of these positions. So in our example, an international employee on an F1 visa will need to provide their passport, visa document, Form I-94, and Form I-20. You will need to search for their I-9 case in the I-9 management site and compare what they entered in Section 1 to the documentation provided. Remember that doing this now could save you a headache later if any typos were entered. Double-check the name entered matches the passport. This is commonly a mismatch with international employees. Date of birth is another common mistake because many countries use a day-day, month-month format as opposed to the month-month, day-day format used in the US. For example, instead of August 21st written as 08/21, many countries use 21/08 instead, so stay vigilant. It is also quite common for an international employee to still be in the process of obtaining their social security number. The SSN applied for radio button should be selected in that case. There are some specifics about this scenario that are called out in a separate training material, so please review it later. Another key field you want to review is the alien authorized to work until date. This date can be found on the visa eligibility form. For example, the DS-2019 has a form covers to date for J1 visas. The I-797 has a valid to date for H-1B visas. And the employee authorization card has an expires date for employees applying for their green card. In this example, the Form I-20 has a program end date that should be used. While you are reviewing this information, it is important to note another field on the Form I-20 that could lead to a tentative non-confirmation result. The form says, this certificate is issued to the student named above for, and the reason listed needs to say, continued attendance at this school. If the form instead says, initial attendance at this school, or transfer pending, then you should not process the form. You should stop and provide specific instructions for the employee to obtain a new Form I-20. These instructions can be found in the KB article titled, Online I-9, How to Get a New I-20. Sorry for that tangent, but it's an important item to note. The next thing you need to do is the same as any other I-9. Complete the Section 2 information. Let's speed through that. Just make sure that you don't speed through it so fast that you enter a typo. Need I remind you that this could lead to a tentative non-confirmation result as well as additional and time-consuming process steps? I didn't think so. When finished, carefully review, apply electronic signature, and click Continue. Unlike non-domestic employees, you must always scan all the international employees' documents, save them into the secure drive, and attach them to the electronic I-9. Sometimes these documents expire and need to be re-verified. Please see the training material entitled Additional Steps for International Employees after Section 2. In addition, see training material entitled How to Process Re-Verification Due Forms. Understanding the steps covered in this material is critical to ensuring international employees are compliant with federal standards. Thank you for watching this video.